Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Derry Town Council meeting for Tuesday, September 17th. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Jack? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call now. Brian Chiricello.
Good evening.
Jack.
Good evening.
Charlie. Doug.
Hello.
Dave.
Good evening.
And I'm Jim McGeckran, sitting in for Chairwoman Spencer tonight, who is unable to attend. A couple quick things. We do have dial-ins, 446-558-8656, entering your meeting ID 889-403-895. If you have any problems during this time, please give our town clerk a call, Tina, 603-845-5585, and she'll help you along. I'd like to make a motion from somebody to open the public forum, please. Moved by Charlie, seconded by Brian to open the public forum. If anybody would like to come forward and give us your thoughts, comments,
Vote.
and that'd be great, and we're gonna vote.
Vote.
So Brian?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Charlie?
Yes. Yes.
And yes for me too. Thank you, Charlie.
Steve Trefethan, Somerview Real Estate in Derry, a homeowner and a building owner in Derry. A couple of things. I meant to get this over to Dave a couple of days ago, but I've been too busy. I barely got it here for tonight, so I have one for everybody. I don't know if you have this on the agenda. If you don't, if you have it coming up on the agenda, but the estimated land value that the state will be maybe offering you, I've already seen their appraisal to me, same road you're on, police station, and of course they're using an inside house appraiser, and I have the #1 appraiser in all of New England. The difference is pretty big. It's probably about 70% on the land value per square foot. I'm going to give every one of these. I'll give it to Dave first. Your land value should be about $7 a square foot, what you're being paid. For the permanent taking and because they're taking the temporary takings in a 10-year easement, regardless of what they tell you, it's 3 years, 1 year after the highway. The fact of the matter is your deed's going to say 10 years. The appraiser I have, what he said was verbatim was the last thing he did with a 10-year easement was the big dig. He says he hasn't done anything since then. He's done Anheuser-Busch, all that stuff. He said when they do that, that's like taking it in fee, which is close to full value they should be giving you, or 90%. So I'm going to give you one of these. If that's coming up on I don't even know if it's coming up on the agenda. Somebody else sent me something. I want to get this over. But maybe if you're going to approve something, you might want to approve it with the right to review it one more time. If there's anything I can do, I'd be glad to help you. So I give the chair of these and Dave one. On the exit, I know there's been one lawsuit. The state lost a motion to dismiss. That's moving forward. We're asking for development in Derry. State would prefer none. That's probably not going to work. I know there's another lawsuit coming again. These lawsuits, by the way, could stop the exit into Derry. And now also you have the tunnel. So there's a lot of things coming down the road. And right now, I've said it before, there's not a lot to develop in Derry. Granted, we have other land around Derry. That exit may help, it may not help. My feeling is that I have some things going on Crystal Ave. I have some things going on around. The development that we're talking about, hotel or retail or all that's coming anyway. But what the exit will do, the ramp will do for us is give us almost no development off the ramp all the way down with the way they've cut up all the land. We're trying to stop it. I'll keep you posted. But I'm going to give these out because, like I said, if you're not getting $7 a foot and you're getting the 4.5 they offered me, and I could update this for you, then maybe you want to leave that option open to review it again, if you can.
Please pass it along to Dave, and
Yep.
he will distribute it as needed.
No worries. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
I got one for everyone.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Anybody else?
Seeing none, rise online, Mr. Chair.
Motion to close by Brian, second by Charlie. Thoughts, comments, questions? If not, if someone can make questions, if not, if someone can make. Motion by Brian,
Second.
second by Jack. All those, I'll call the roll. Brian? Yes. Jack?
Yes.
Charlie? Doug?
I'm abstain, I wasn't here.
Okay. Dave?
Yes.
And yes from me, Tina. 501. On the second one, 2486, the non-public minutes of September 3rd.
I make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Motion by Jack, second by Doug. Do we want to make a motion to seal those minutes also?
I so move.
Okay, motion by Jack to seal it. You okay, Doug?
Yep, second.
Same with Doug. On the motion, Brian? Okay, Jack,
Approve.
Charlie? Doug,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
and yes from the chairman, so we have 501 with Brian's abstention. Tina? Last section of minutes, 2487, minutes from September 3rd meeting.
I make the motion, we approve those minutes.
Motion by Jack, second by Charlie, thank you. No thoughts, comments on the motion? Doug?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Charlie? Jack?
Approve.
Brian?
Abstain.
And yes from me, Tina, so same as before, please. Okay. If there aren't any issues, I'm gonna read the next three, and we can just do them as part of the consent agenda. 2488, Resolution 2024057, to approve covenants and commercial industrial tax relief application for 42 Route 111. Attached staff report seeks the approval for tax relief, 6,264 square feet manufacturing building. Public hearings required and will be scheduled for October 1st. Resolution 24058, to accept an offer for damages and unanticipated revenues from NHDOT relative to the Exit 4A project. Attached is the staff report, Resolution 24058, to accept unanticipated revenues from 4A strip acquisition at the police station and redirect those revenues to the Police Facility Capital Reserve Fund. Public hearings required to be scheduled October 1st, 2024. Last one, 2490, Resolution 24061, to accept the Bureau of Justice Assistant Grant and authorize the intermunicipal agreement with Rockingham County. Again, the attached staff report, Resolution 2024-61, to accept unanticipated revenues from the Bureau of Justice Assistance to be administered by Rockingham County. Public hearing is required and can be scheduled on October 1st.
I make, second.
Moved by Charlie, seconded by Jack. Thank you. On the motion, Brian?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Charlie? Doug?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
And yes from the chairman, so that's the approval of 2488, 89, and 90. Okay. Move on to the chairman's report. A couple items here, report on the elections. Dave and Tina, if you'd like to report on the elections, be much appreciated.
Go ahead.
All righty, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll give you the executive summary first. And from my perspective, the election ran very smoothly. And I would then like to thank all of the people who made that happen, starting with the counselors who provided the facility and the funding, and those who were in attendance doing their constitutional duties. I would like to thank the Public Works staff, the police department staff, and the fire staff who made everything happen for us. A lot of work goes into the setup, and both before and on the day. I would like to thank the Pinkerton Academy staff for all of the work they did. I would like to thank all the poll workers. Without the poll workers, none of this can happen. And last but not least, my fellow election officials, the town clerk, supervisors of the checklist, who made everything run smoothly. We had a total of 1,615 Democrat ballots cast in person, 169 by absentee ballot. We had 3,004 Republican ballots cast in person and 193 by absentee. So a total in-person attendance was 4,619. We had about 80 poll workers during the day to make things happen. Of our 19,190 registered voters in town, that was about a 25% turnout. And we registered 81 new voters on election day. Obviously, the presidential election coming up November 5th will require much larger staff. And so we will be actively recruiting additional poll workers. Some of them have already responded that they were not available for September, but would be available for November, and we'll be following up with them and recruiting them and training them. And I want to thank Mr. Flood for his posts on social media. So anyone who would like to do some plugs and do some promotion, there is a website on the town moderators page of the Town of Derry website where you can fill out a form and sign up to work, and then we'll get you on the worker rolls and take it from there. Tina, do you have any comments as well?
I do. Although my comments are more about our upcoming election. Today was National Voter Registration Day. We had quite a few people come in to Town Hall to register to vote today. Know that you can register to vote from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday at the town clerk's office. The supervisors of checklist are going to be offering some additional hours as soon as that's available. It'll be posted on the website and posted on social media. So feel free to check the website if 7 to 4 doesn't work for you. You do need to bring a photo ID. And if you want to make it quick and painless, bring proof of your Derry domicile, which is a utility bill, your vehicle registration, that kind of thing, and to bring proof of citizenship. That's a birth certificate, passport. Those are probably the fastest way. If you're a naturalized citizen, you can bring your naturalization papers too. While there are affidavits available, it does take more time, and most people want to get in and out of Town Hall as quickly as possible. Also, absentee ballots are not in yet, but we are taking applications for November. We already have almost 500 absentee ballot applications already downstairs. The application is available on the elections page of the town website, and as soon as you log in, there's a nice big graphic that says presidential election. You can just click on that, and it's literally the top thing. So you can fill that application out, print it, sign it, and you can either mail it to us. You can drop it in one of the drop boxes. You can mail it to us. You can drop it off, whatever is easier for you. We are more than happy to get those ready so that as soon as the ballots come in, we will get them out. I expect those ballots hopefully late next week. A lot of people don't realize this, but we just had this primary last Tuesday. And we need those candidates in order to put them on the ballot for November to print the ballot. We had a lot of people call asking, when is the ballot going to be available? When am I going to see it? Not realizing that it's a very short timeline. So there's that. I'd also like to add my thank you to the council, to Public Works, who worked almost till midnight the night before, and then came and broke down the night of the election. Mike's staff does an amazing job. Both our chiefs are here, so police and fire, huge thank you for all that you do. They do a lot of work behind the scenes that nobody sees. I'd like to thank Pinkerton, their administration, and their staff for all their assistance. I'd like to thank my fellow election officials. Those of you that appointed pro tems, greatly appreciated. Supervisor of the checklist by town moderator. I'd like to thank our poll workers. Without them, we can't have an election, and we will need more. And I'd like to especially thank the voters that came out. And I just ask that more voters come. I know that there are a lot of people that are just not interested in primaries. I get it. But that, they need to hear you. Elected officials need to hear you. So come out and vote. I look forward to seeing everyone either here at Town Hall for an absentee ballot or in November.
Thank you. Appreciate it. So, great job. Again, I can echo the sentiments and let other people comment, but I think the both of you, as well as the staff and all the volunteers, did an outstanding job. Derry continues to do a fantastic job with elections, and look forward to having everybody come through Pinkerton with our 19,000 plus registered voters and making it smooth again. In November, I know the police flew the drone over the parking lot area, at least when I was out there, and taking their photos and seeing,
DerryCAM is
trying
gonna be
to
putting something
show
together
people
for
how
us.
to get back and forth, and those efforts do not go unnoticed. I think everybody enjoyed that and asked a lot of questions when it was happening. So, in an effort to make things smooth, they're already working on November, so I'm fully supportive of everything you folks did, and I know November will be great. We've done it before, and Tina, you've been through these before, David, you too. So I think November's going to be great. Let's just hope for a decent day.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Oh, comments? Jack, sure.
Yeah, just a quick question. Dave, what are the qualifications to be a poll worker?
So you must be a registered Derry voter, and you must have some training. If the folks who worked at the primary are going to work again for the presidential, they don't need to be retrained, but we like to see you, if you haven't been trained in 6, 8, 9 months, we'd like to see you come in and get a refresher, because there are some laws that have changed, and then while they may seem minor, it's very important that we get everything right. We don't want to be afoul of state statute, and as Tina, I think, may have told you before, we had an inspection by the Secretary of State's office and we
Attorney General's office.
Attorney General's office, and we passed with flying colors, so we're doing everything right. So those are the primary requirements. For the presidential election, we often have student voting. Are we going to have that again this year?
No, we're not going to have any student voting.
Okay.
However, anybody who's 17, we do have some jobs they can do outside the guardrail. So if there's anybody who 17 maybe needs some community hours for something, we can work that out.
And do we gonna have any Girl Scout cookies or things like that?
I hear the Boy Scouts are coming to sell some popcorn. So
So we do have other opportunities besides the actual ballot clerks and counters that will help direct people and make them feel welcome.
Yeah, I know that you're doing a lot trying to find more help, but I know everybody relies on social media, and I don't always think that's effective. And maybe just posting at all the public buildings the contact information for please sign up to be a poll worker.
it's here. It's at both libraries.
But where,
We can send something out to the SAU.
yeah, and wherever there's foot traffic in some of the public buildings, even if it gets one person.
Okay. Brian? Oh,
Yeah,
Charlie.
thank you. And thank you both for doing a tremendous job. I want to say something new this year, that to get the results from Derry was pretty quick this year. So thank you very much for that improvement. I think Wyndham's came in at 3 o'clock in the morning. There were a couple of towns that didn't come in the next day, and there's a new law in the books now that you're supposed to post the numbers on the tapes, even though they're not official. But Derry came in quick, and that's
32 minutes.
that's been a very big improvement, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Cool. Charlie, you want to?
Madam Clerk, I know you and I spoke, but for the people at home, can you explain for those students who are 17 now but will be 18 for election, how they can register to vote early?
So anyone who will be 18 on election day, so if your birthday is November 5th or any time between now and November 5th, you can come in and register to vote now. Honestly, registering ahead of time will save you lines and confusion on election day. And I mean that for everybody, not just for these kids. But For a lot of these kids, it's a big polling place. They've never done it before. They get easily confused. So if you want to come into town hall, like after school, come in. If you don't have a driver's license yet, you can bring your school ID and bring your birth certificate. If you obviously probably don't have a bill or anything in your name, your parents can sign a letter saying that you live with them, or if they're the property owner, or if they're renters, you should be listed on the lease, and you can bring that in. You know, you can have your parents come with you and help you out with that. It's not a problem. We can definitely get you registered to vote ahead of time.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And good job to everybody that day.
All right, thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The next item I have is an appointment to the zoning board. The zoning chair has made a recommendation, and I have a nomination here. I would like to nominate Jason Dungali. Sorry, Jason, if I'm messing that up. To the Zoning Board of Adjustments as an alternate, term to expire March 31st, 2025.
Second.
Second by Brian. On the motion, Brian?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Charlie?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
And yes from the chairman. I'll turn it over to the town administrator for the administration report.
Okay, thank you. The council may recall that your top priority goal was to look at space needs deficiencies at the police station. To that end, the chief and his staff have been working, investigating different options, and have developed a proposal for the council's review this evening and hopefully action at your next meeting. So, Chief?
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
This on?
Evening, chief. Yeah.
David.
Okay. We appear this evening to discuss several projects, all wrapped into one staff report. And with Dave's permission, I'll go through all of it. To accept the New Hampshire DOT's offer for land taking at Exit 4A project at the police department. Consider entering into an agreement with LaValle Brensinger Architects to provide an assessment and feasibility study for the police station, and establish a police facility capital reserve fund for that purpose. Dave indicated on his staff report that the council is encouraged to accept damages in the amount of $194,310, represents a permanent and temporary right-of-way taking for the property adjacent to the Garone Police Facility along Folsom Road. That's for the Exit 4A corridor project. Number two, to establish a police facility capital reserve fund to help pay for the existing conditions and feasibility study, and ultimately capital costs associated with the council's FY25 priority goal. And three, to deposit those funds from the New Hampshire DOT into a capital reserve fund. And number four, authorize the use of $87,000 of those funds for the existing conditions and feasibility study. A bit of history, really quickly. Since I've been around since this time, I can speak accurately to it. The police facility at One Minstrel Drive was constructed in 1984 and 85. We occupied it in July of 1985. The original construction was 12,500 square feet. In 1999, we added a freestanding police maintenance and fire maintenance garage in the rear of the property. In 2006, we added a 4,000 square foot two-story addition to our existing police facility. So we now have a total of 16,500 square feet. Over the years, virtually every space in the original facility has been modified, remodeled, or repurposed in some fashion to meet the demands of our workforce and mission. We presently find ourselves at capacity in the present facility with no room for internal or external expansion. Exit 4A will impact the facility in a dramatic way. There will be 7 lanes of traffic passing by our driveway, 5 lanes eastbound, 2 lanes westbound. The current design calls for a divided way. That's going to impact the ability of our staff to exit our facility and turn left into the Ross Corner intersection, because you'll only be able to make a right-hand turn out. It's going to impact the ability for the public to access our facility. So we need some options for alternative entrance. We've been working with the New Hampshire DOT. They are supportive of and I believe are incorporating into the design a new driveway exit, or entrance, I should say, at the juncture of Laconia Avenue. So the hope is there'll be a controlled light intersection where we can enter the police station from the property where directly across from Laconia Ave, come north, and then turn right into the back of the police station parking lot. And then, you know, this impact to our facility really calls into question the feasibility of maintaining that operation at that location. So we've been speaking with LaValle Brensinger, an architect, to conduct a feasibility study for us. We have received that proposal. As you can see in our staff report, the total cost is $87,000. $54,000 for the LaValle Brensinger architects, DuBois and King, MEP and FP, fire protection, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, engineering, $7,500, FBRA, structural engineering, $4,500, VHB, civil, $7,500, Jobin, cost estimating, $7,000, subtotal is $80,500, project management, $4,000. Summary of that total is $84,500 with a reimbursable expense allowance of $2,500. That's a total of $87,000. At this time, there is no tax impact resulting from the planning portion of this project. The council is requested to transfer funds from the right-of-way impact at the police station into a police facility capital reserve fund to help pay for the current planning analysis expense and future capital costs. There will be a balance of $107,310 in the fund upon completion of the feasibility study. So we have 3 different resolutions that go along with these projects over 2 meetings. Resolution 2024-058 deals with accepting from the New Hampshire DOT the offer of unanticipated revenues after a public hearing on October 1st. 20-024-060 creates a police facility capital reserve fund. I believe that can be addressed tonight at this meeting. And Resolution 24-061, again at the October 1st meeting, authorized the town administrator to sign an agreement with LaValle Brensinger to complete the existing conditions and feasibility analysis at the police station. Happy to answer any questions you might have.
Questions? Go ahead, Brian.
Chief, just a quick question. So you mentioned that when they opened, you had 12,500 square feet. You had an addition of 16,500 total now with the addition.
Right.
What do you need over there? What are you looking to increase for square footage?
I suspect, based on our current workforce, that we're going to need somewhere in the vicinity of 32,000 square feet. But we'll wait for the feasibility study. That's what we want to engage LaValle Brensinger for. They'll give us an analysis and what we need going forward.
So 30 to 32.
I believe that, yes. I think that's, based on our prior experience with the architects that developed the plans for the fire department. I don't know if you recall at the time, we did a police station study at the same time.
Yeah.
And that facility proposal was, the demands that we would need were about 32,000 square feet.
Okay. And then the original building, I'm just speculating, I don't know. I would think that you've increased the female population of police officers?
Substantially.
And
over the
so,
past few years, actually.
and so the rooms, the locker rooms and the,
All substandard for the population. We have female officers. We've actually had to take over one of our bathrooms on a lower level and make it an additional female locker room.
okay. So we need to improve there.
Yes.
And then how about the evidence rooms and stuff like that? Are those sufficient of original, or do we need to?
Then they won't be sufficient into the future. They're doing a job for us today, yes, but in the future, no, they won't be.
All right,
We'll need more space.
all right, thank you.
Jack?
Just quick, I think the study is overdue and a great idea. Just a suggestion for the council in general. I think that when the study is completed and the results are given to us, that probably would be a good idea for us to do a tour of the station at the same time.
Happy to have that anytime you want.
Feel free to go anytime you want, Jack. Gentlemen? Nope. No? Okay. Well, Chief, I know this has been a long time coming, and I've been a major proponent of making corrections to the police station and remain committed to supporting this. And I'm happy, you know, Dave, between you and Dave, working on a feasibility of adding to what we can, and let's see if we can get that done, because clearly the cost of a brand-new station somewhere else would be quite a bit different. And I think, you know, we talked about this even last year at the legislative meeting. You know, this is our opportunity to take care of what we need to make sure that the staff of the police department gets everything they need, so Derry has a top-notch facility for the top-notch force we have, but to also be sensitive to the taxpayers. And we know we have to make some corrections to the schools, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done to the schools. So in an effort to help out, I think this is the right avenue, is to go with an expansion of the existing space. So obviously, looking at the longer-term goal, it helps out everybody, and this will be something that's definitely needed. I know back in the day, when we did the growth management ordinance, the police station was supposed to be being built right now, and the fire station 2010 or 2011. So I'm going to thank my former counselors here who were here a couple of years ago, Doug, Charlie, Brian, and made sure that fire station got done. Unfortunately, it was about half a dozen or so years later than it should have been, because this should be the police station right now. But it is something that needs to get done, so you do have my support to move forward in this. David, do you want us to take up each of the resolutions, or how do you want this done tonight?
No, we'll be seeking council approval of one of the resolutions when we get into new business.
When we get into new business?
Right. The two other ones we're asking for consideration at the next meeting. One requires a public hearing on October 1st. So we will request adoption or creation of the police facilities capital reserve fund.
Okay, I
under
see
new
that.
business.
So the capital reserve fund is here,
Right.
and the other two we don't need to do.
They will appear in your agenda at the October 1st meeting.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Thank you, Chief. Oh, sorry, David.
One quick comment.
Yes.
I know this is very preliminary, but with that study, I'm assuming that they would also let us know that if it's not feasible to put an addition on, build it at
That will be,
another location.
that will be part of the study.
Okay, I just want to make sure of that. Thank you.
Good point. Okay, you're up.
On other issues, we try to report to the council every quarter on the status of your FY25 goals. And you just heard from Chief Fioli regarding the police facility. The council has already addressed the exemption credit goal for this fiscal year. The extension of Route 28 South Sewer, we presented an update and an implementation schedule last month. On housing and economic development, there are really two issues. One is that, just a reminder, the council will meet at 5:30 on October 15th for a 90-minute workshop with our development partners for Abbott Court. And the second one is 19 Elm Street. We suspect will remain in the planning and remediation phase for another season. Further test shows that the contaminated area is a little bit in a different area than we anticipated. So our staff is collaborating with NHDES and the US EPA to secure additional grants to actually clean the site, which will make development a lot more efficient. So we work on that through the year. Regarding the Exit 4A corridor, the contract B has been received and opened. The low bidder was Weaver Brothers, who is the contractor on contract A. That's a contract which you see over, actually, the bridge over I-93. We expect that'll go before Governor and Council for approval in October. Mike Fowler had a meeting with NHDOT leadership last week, and they're committed to installing that four-way traffic signal at Laconia, with the fourth leg going over the former property of the Salvation Army, which will provide access to the police station and also the private development nearby. There is some confusion, which hopefully has been cleared up last week, regarding the disposal of surplus property. The state takes property for the project, and once the project is completed, any surplus land they've taken and didn't need, they see if they need it for state purposes. If they don't, then they offer it to the town. And it's been our position the town ought to purchase that land along Folsom Road and work with private development interests to redevelop that. So there was a question whether the state had to wait to the end of the entire contract. As you know, Contract C will end up, will be from the east side of the intersection of Schnedo and Pinkerton all the way to 102. And that's not going to be completed until 2027. So I had an email conversation with the commissioner who told me that the department does have discretion. And so what we're doing is we're going to be seeking permission to have the state declare that surplus at the end of Contract B, which will accelerate redevelopment by about 2 years. So we're still working on that in concert with Senator Birdsell. And the last thing on the 4A project is the council approved a utility agreement with NHDOT to essentially rebuild a lot of the utilities out there, water and wastewater. And the preliminary estimate was that the local share was about $55,000 out of a $1.83 million project. The local share actually would be about 93. Most of all the increases in water, wastewater costs actually a little bit less. So our share is slightly less than 5% for brand new infrastructure. So it's a great value for the community. So we'll absorb that in our budgets, and we may come back for a budget adjustment on the water side towards the end of the year, but we'll be proceeding with contracts with NHDOT. Another goal the council had is financial management policy, and we're currently assembling on the identification of capital and operational goals that will turn out probably in a couple months once we get the court project up and running. Regarding public works, congrats, a great job with completion of culvert placement on Franklin Street and Sunset number 1. The other end of Sunset, closest to Wyndham Road, is not closed, as contractors will seek to replace and complete that prior to the onset of winter. Given our finances, again, early in the year, but all major roads running at or above expectations. And finally, Central Fire Station construction update, and we'll ask Chief Hager to come up and walk through a PowerPoint under the council as to the project is. Chief?
Good evening.
Chief.
While he's setting that up, I just want to bring to your attention that the town and the East Derry area town is experiencing a moderate to major water break in the Pennachuck water main on Olson Road towards the pump station. We did utilize our emergency management tool, Code Red, to send out a alert isolated to the citizens of the area that we feel like it's affecting. We do not have duration time. We won't be using the Code Red any further tonight. If anybody from the public's looking for an update, we ask that you look towards our social media page on Facebook, and we'll release it as we have it. All right, a brief update on the new station. This is the artist's version of it. There has been some modifications to it that I'm expecting an updated photo for display the next time I present this. This is an aerial view that was done with our drone. It's an asset of emergency management. Battalion Chief Bill Gillis took this photo. I'm happy to report that currently the project is on budget and on schedule. All the stakeholders are working well together as a team. We've been pretty lucky so far with the contractors with materials coming in on time. We're very happy to see a great product developing with the excellent contractors and the team that we have. I'm going to take you through just a few photos. So right here, this is a view of looking from Rockingham Road towards the building. You can see where the bays or the apparatus will go in and out straight in the front. To the left is the taller structure you see is a training tower, which will allow us to do on-site training. Just below that, which you'll see in a better photos, will be a state-of-the-art structural firefighter protective gear holding area. And if you look towards to the right of the photo, you're going to see what we're calling the administrative wing, training facility, watchroom, dormitories, kitchen, and a large area taken up by the dispatch communication center. So this would be as if you're looking from Rite Aid or in the west side of the building, and there's the training tower construction that we're talking about there. It's going to have a water way in it, allowing for hose evolutions in the stairwell, bailouts from windows, access from the exterior in, standpipe operations. Down to the right where you see the masonry that is taking form recently, what you see there is a state-of-the-art protective equipment area. Currently, our protective equipment is exposed to general traffic, and if there's contaminants, it has easy flow into the living areas. So this is going to be a significant improvement for the health and safety of the firefighters. This would be the east view. What you see here on the bottom corner most towards us is the training room, state-of-the-art training room. To the left of that is a watch room, or an area where we envision most of the members will be completing their documentation. As you look down the right hand of the structure, that's more of the administrative wing, holding the investigators, administrative support staff, fire chief, assistant chief, and the EMS training captain. Above to the left, you're looking at where the communication center is going to be, and wrapping around to the right is predominantly going to be dormitory rooms. This is the view that I already gave you. Apologize. In the future, we're having all the contractors are on site following the masonry as they go. The slab was started to be poured yesterday. The masons will continue to work from the east side towards the west side. 2-week look ahead, we're looking in October, the first layer of paving will be done around the building. The wood framing will also begin. We're working at some point of establishing an event for all the stakeholders to come together to do a beam signing, which the town council will be invited to at that time. Really right now the race is to get the administrative side of the building weather tight, so then the contractors can continue to work through the winter doing the interior finishes. Estimated move-in date remains of September 2025. Be happy to answer any questions on the new station if you have it.
Nothing?
Looks good.
Well, you may want to stay, because I think you're next too. Yes, you are.
Thank you.
Dave, anything else?
That's it, thank you.
Okay, let's move on to public hearings. Item 2480, Resolution 2024-054, accept a gift from the Defense Logistics Agency for the Fire Department and authorize a withdrawal from the Capital Reserve Fund. You're up, Chief.
All right, thank you. So this evening I want to talk to you about our what's called the forestry pumper tanker. It was originally called Tanker 85 when it was owned new to the East Derry Fire Department in 1986. When we merged the Town of Derry Fire Department with the East Derry Fire Precinct in 2005, we took possession of that tanker. Forestry tanker is a heavy-duty forestry response vehicle that's made to go off-road. It carries typically 1,000 gallons of water. It's made to support the lighter forestry vehicles you've seen as pickup truck styles, if you will, by bringing water in there. It is a 4x4 vehicle. It's really critical to providing water to remote locations to assist with wildland urban firefighting. The unit, when operational, is housed out of the the Island Pond Fire Station. In 2017, following a ruptured head gasket, some significant upgrades were done to the vehicle, which included a complete skid body replacement, which you see in the back of this vehicle now. It was decided then that we were going to continue the use of the chassis until it became inoperable. And which it did in 2022, the engine suffered a catastrophic failure. In 2023, approved through the CIP purchasing plan, a replacement chassis was ordered. In 2024, we reached out to our manufacturer and asked what the status of what the chassis was, and they had unexpectedly canceled it and failed to notify us of such. So it kind of left us scrambling for a plan. We developed a plan like I would like to go into in a few minutes, but recognize this did result in the cancellation and the free up from the CIP for the money that was originally allocated for it. In the future, the department is looking at other needs, and we may return to the council to ask for authorization to use those funds. Our updated plan is 2 phases. We're looking to accept a donation for the military surplus. It's valued at over $100,000. I will go into more details on that in a second. And also requesting authorization to utilize $45,000 from the Capital Reserve Fund, which will be used to cover the shipping, fitting, and conversion of the donation of the military surplus vehicle. The $45,000 from the Capital Reserve Fund would be with no immediate tax impact. As I said, it would be used to cover the shipping, upfitting, and conversion. The vehicle is a 1997 5-ton four-wheel drive vehicle, originally valued towards $650,000. The current value that the government is placing on it is just over $100,000. The miles on this is only 1,600. This is a very ruggedized vehicle that we wouldn't be able to purchase otherwise without this donation. So our plan is this sked unit that I mentioned was purchased before on 4th Street after it was updated from the East Derry Fire Department is on the right photo there. So we still have that. The current value of that right there is $56,000. So what we want to do is take the donation of the military vehicle, and the vehicle that you see on the left is the actual donation that we're looking to accept, and place the sked unit on the back of the donated military vehicle. That will involve stripping down of the vehicle, removing all glass, removing all interior fixtures, updating to the safety standard, repainting to our current branding, and as I said, moving the skid unit back onto the back of it. This is an example of 2 departments of New Hampshire who have taken a similar unit and done similar work to it. One is from Antrim, New Hampshire, and the other one is from Auburn, New Hampshire. Like I said, it is the same vehicle. We think this is going to be about a 6-month turnaround in doing this. Most of the work is going to be done in-house. And we think once it's completed, we're looking at having a service life of 25+ years out of the vehicle. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
So before we go to the questions, I'd like to have someone make a motion to open
I'll
the
make
public
that
hearing.
motion to open the public hearing.
Motion by Brian,
Second.
second by Jack. All those in favor of a motion?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ladies and gentlemen, the public hearing is open. If anybody would like to step forward and ask a question for our 3 members of the public.
Seeing none, rise online, Mr.
Move to
Chair.
close the public hearing.
Motion by Brian to close,
Second.
second by Charlie. Thank you, gentlemen. On the motion to close, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Questions for the chief? Charlie?
Just a comment. Strong work in adapting and overcoming and locating that, acquiring that vehicle, so that's going to be a
Appreciate it. We had a
impact.
great team that worked closely with the state forestry and lands to locate the vehicle. They're a little challenging to come by, and fortunately, it seems like the timeline is lining up.
Excellent work. Thank you. Anybody else?
Got a comment too.
Dave?
Again, I echo what Councilor Foote said, awesome work on that, and I'm noticing the vehicle that's donating to us is a 6-wheel vehicle versus a 4-wheel.
Correct.
So we have like one up on those other 2 towns, and that vehicle is gonna look awesome when it's all done.
Attention to detail.
Oh, yeah, we'll be using that during like major storms and everything, I'm sure.
Absolutely. It'll have
Yeah, no, I
multi-purpose
think it's
roles.
awesome, saving a ton of money and everything, so that's good.
Thank you.
Okay. Could somebody want to read the resolution, or are there more questions?
Okay. Who wants to read it?
One of our firefighters, Charlie or Jack?
Charlie, do it.
I mean, go to the right page.
It's in the front. It's in,
I yield to you, Councilor Webb.
I think it's in the front. I think. Second page, yeah, right after the presentation. You're going too far, Jack.
Sorry about that.
Nope, one more.
Sticky pages.
Might as well have a firefighter read it. How's that? Retired, sorry, thank you.
Okay, a motion to accept a gift from the Defense Logistics Agency and authorize withdrawal from the Fire Department Capital Reserve Fund. Resolution number 2024-054. Whereas RSA 31:94-E authorizes the town of Derry to accept gifts other than money to be used for any public purposes, and whereas the fire department's 1986 forestry pumper tanker recently suffered a catastrophic failure, and whereas The best option to replace this apparatus in the current manufacturing environment is to accept a surplus vehicle from the Defense Logistics Agency valued at $100,000. And whereas additional funds are needed and available in the Fire Department Capital Reserve Fund to ship, upfit, and convert the chassis into a forestry pumper. Now, therefore, be it resolved in council that the town administrator is hereby authorized to accept a gift of a 1997 Stewart and Stevenson 5-ton chassis valued at $100,000. Further, as agents to expend it, the town council authorizes the town administrator to withdraw $45,000 from the Fire Department Capital Reserve Fund to fund shipping, upfitting, and conversion cost. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon its passage.
Motion by Jack, second by Charlie. Comments? Seeing none on the motion. Brian?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Charlie? Doug?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And yes from the chairman. Motion passes, chief.
Excellent. Thank you for your support.
Up to you and Dave now. All right, I guess continuing what appears to be Public Safety Night, the next resolution, I'd like to call the chief forward. Resolution 24053 to accept the New Hampshire Highway Safety Grant for various traffic enforcement activities.
Good evening
You're up,
again.
Chief.
Thank you. Every year, we come before the council and we seek authority to accept highway safety grant funds for various patrol-related projects. Before us this evening, we seek to obtain $12,000 for speed enforcement patrols. That's 44-hour patrols. DUI enforcement patrols, $1,600. That's 5 4-hour patrols. Distracted driving patrols, $4,000. That's 13 4-hour patrols. Pedestrian bicycle patrols, that's $3,000 at 10 4-hour patrols. Seatbelt mobilization patrols, $850, so 2 4-hour patrols. Impaired driving mobilization patrols at $1,700 for 5 4-hour patrols. And distracted driving mobilization patrols, $850 for 2 4-hour patrols. The 7 enforcement programs total $24,000. There are some soft match-related costs that we have to come up with, totaling $6,000. We typically do that through the accounting of any prosecutions related, the accounting of cruiser use, and so forth. So we can easily meet that $6,000 match. I'm happy to answer any questions after the public hearing.
I'd like to have a motion to open the public hearing.
So
please.
moved.
Motion and a
Second.
second. Motion by Brian, second by David. On the motion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? None? Public hearing is open for the public safety grant. Any one of the 3 people here?
Seeing none, rise online, Mr. Chair.
I just have a quick question.
Well, we need a motion to close the
Oh,
public hearing,
sorry.
please.
Motion to close.
Second.
By Brian, second by David. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, Mr. Cherichello, you're up.
Thank you. I'm just looking, so you got distracted driving patrols,
Yes.
and you have, on the end, distracted driving mobilization patrols. What's the difference?
Yes, that's a good question. The difference is that the state has statewide goals and statewide patrols. So we have monies allotted for distracted driving, $4,000. And then you'll see at the bottom, we have another $850. That is, those mobilization patrols are for dates that state specifies when they want to have an extra presence across the state for those reasons. So they try to coordinate with police departments that have these monies across the state, that we all get out there and do these patrols on the same dates, same time.
Okay. Another question, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
Just trying to get a feel for the distracted driving issue, especially with cell phones. I don't see it getting any better, to be honest with you. I'm very shocked to see how many people are just on their phones while they're driving. And I have to believe, when I read the paper with all these accidents, that this is really contributing to more accidents. But what are you seeing in the police
I'm
work?
making the same observations you are. Anytime I'm on the roadway, whether it's my personal vehicle or coming back and forth to work.
Yeah.
I see folks holding the phone to their ear. And that shocks me today because every vehicle manufactured today has Bluetooth capabilities for that reason.
Right.
Yet it still happens. Now, distracted driving, you may or may not know, when you're distracted, that's equal to being about a 0.10 on the blood alcohol content. It really equals the same thing. You're not paying attention, and your operation is about the same as if you were intoxicated.
Right.
So that accounts for a lot of our accidents on the street, distracted driving.
And distracted driving could be also, this is what I learned when I was at the State House on the Transportation Committee. We went through this many times. Somebody eating a hamburger while they're driving, a person that's got a dog on their lap while they're driving.
Exactly.
That all falls under distraction.
Anything that takes your attention away from the task of driving the vehicle is distracted driving.
And lastly, it's not really part of this, but I wish they would do an enforcement of pseudo mufflers that sound like gunshots going off, because that's what I hear every day in my neighborhood, and it actually sounds like gunshots.
They actually do sound like they're made to backfire. They're made to sound like gunshots, and they are unlawful. So
Right. So
I'm sorry.
they are unlawful,
Yes.
right? Because it's a modified muffler.
Yes.
I just don't know how the enforcement piece comes in, because how do you register a vehicle that has those mufflers?
Well, you don't need to prove you have a muffler to get a car registered. You have to go through an inspection process, and whether an inspection station grants an inspection sticker to one of those vehicles that has a muffler on that, that may happen. I don't know.
I'm just trying to find out where the enforcement piece is to that.
Well, here's the piece for the enforcement is that, for the most part, those mufflers sound like a normal muffler until the operator does something to make them pop.
Right.
So unless that happens in front of a police officer, the enforcement's very difficult, because if it's not happening, we can't really enforce it.
But the person, the mechanic that puts a sticker on that vehicle knowing that muffler is modified.
I'm sure that's a violation that could be addressed by the New Hampshire State Police.
Okay, I'm just curious. I'm sorry.
For the inspection station.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody, okay, I'm sorry, Dave, and then Jack.
Well, I just got to follow up to what Council Chiarochello was talking about. I have no idea what the law is, but I know, like, I have a 2003 Harley, and I go get an inspection sticker, and they put the meter on the ground so many feet away from my exhaust, and they rev up to 2,000 RPM. And it has to be under a certain decibel, or they won't put a sticker on the bike. So I don't know if they do that to motor vehicles, too. I have no idea. I'd be curious to find out.
I've
You know,
never
certain motor
experienced that
vehicles, so-
with my own vehicles. I've not experienced that.
No, I haven't either in my truck, but, you know, you get these souped-up cars that sound like popcorn machines, and you wonder, you know, I'm going to do a little research on that, because I know they do that to motorcycles. So.
Interesting.
Uh,
Webb.
So I talked to the chief briefly about this the other day, and it's not just in Derry, but it's in the state. You see it on the highway. There's a whole culture, I should say, of bad behavior in cars now. You're seeing it in an increased number of fatal accidents. I don't know what more can be done here, but maybe it's some talk to some of our legislators who are around. One of the triggers that got me thinking about retirement was a fatal motorcycle accident here in Derry in August of 2019, where a 19-year-old boy died. So, when we look at changing safety and safety culture, you look at enforcement, education, engineering, emergency response, and equity or / economic investiture. And this process will help with the enforcement and the economic investiture if you get fined. But I think that, I don't know how we change, it's not just distracted driving, it's speed, it's aggressive driving, it's on the highways. We're seeing a really serious uptick on fatal accidents throughout the state and throughout the region, really. And I don't know if more can be done legislatively, or maybe there are some ideas that can come up locally that make it throughout the state. And again, that's just, a call to maybe do a little bit of brainstorming and leadership. Thank you.
So I'll just add one more E in there. The enforcement leads to education.
Yeah.
So we can catch the education piece with enforcement too.
Okay, so if there are no other questions, I'll ask Mr. Granessi to read this as the police officer on the
Retired.
on the board.
All right, so Mr. Chairman, I move to adopt resolution number 2024-53 to accept a New Hampshire Highway Safety Grant for the various traffic enforcement activities, whereas section 9.15 of the town charter authorizes the town council to accept grant funding, and whereas the funding is available through the New Hampshire Highway Safety Agency, and whereas a town may receive funds for various traffic enforcement activities, and whereas these activities enhance the safety of the traveling public in Derry. Now therefore be resolved in council pursuant to RSA 31:95B that the town administrator is hereby authorized to apply for, accept, and expend $24,000 derivative from the New Hampshire Highway Safety Agency grants and to enter into agreements with the state of New Hampshire as may be necessary to finalize receipt of this grant funding for the following programs: speed enforcement patrols, $12,000, 40 hours of 4-hour patrols; DUI enforcement patrols, $1,600, 5 of them 4-hour patrols; distracted driving patrols, $4,000, 13 of them 4-hour patrols; pedestrian bicycle patrols, $3,000, 10 for 4-hour patrols; join the New Hampshire Click Patrols, $850, 2 of them 4-hour patrols; drive sober or get pulled over patrols, $1,700, 5 of them for 4-hour patrols; you drive, you text, you pay patrols, $850, 2 of them for 4-hour patrols. This resolution shall take effect immediately upon its passage, adopted September 17, 2024.
Motion by David, seconded by Charlie. On the motion, Brian,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Charlie,
Yes.
Doug,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
and yes from the chair. Thank you, chief.
Thank you.
We'll see you in a minute. Stick around, we're not done with public safety night yet. New business, resolution 2024-59 to amend resolution 2022-80 to rescind the betterment assessment at Barkland Acres. Mr. Karen.
Thank you. This is a housekeeping item. You may recall the last meeting, you met with the Public Works Director and his deputy regarding an additional grant to cover some construction cost overages anticipated. The grant was about $1.7 million. A condition of that grant is that we can no longer levy a betterment assessment upon the property owners. So that will result in about a $15,000 shortfall every year for the next 20 years, which will roll into our budget. So the bottom line is that we received essentially a net increase of about $1.31 million in that grant. So this housekeeping resolution simply provides proof to the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services that upon receipt of the grant, that the council is rescinding its previous action to assess the betterment assessment to the improved properties at Barkland Acres.
What, we can't double dip?
No,
Okay.
we tried.
Thoughts, comments, questions from any counselors?
Makes sense.
Seeing none?
I move to adopt resolution number 2024-059 to amend resolution 2022-080 to rescind the betterment assessment at Barkland Acres water system. Whereas section 5.1 of the town charter designates the town council as governing and legislative body of the town of town, and whereas the Barkland Acres water system is experiencing water quality issues and has requested the town accept ownership and operation of the system, and whereas the town council previously adopted resolution 2022-079, which appropriates funds for water quality improvements, including those served by the Barkland Acres water system, in resolution 2022-080, which in part levied a betterment assessment upon the properties to be serviced by the water system, and whereas the town council adopted resolution 2024-048, which provided additional funding from the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services for this project, and whereas grant requirements eliminate the betterment assessment previously levied, now therefore be it resolved in council, the portion of resolution 2022-080, which levied a betterment assessment on all Barkland Acres properties benefiting from the availability of municipal water is hereby rescinded upon the receipt of the EPA's Emerging Contaminants in Small or Disadvantaged Communities program. This resolution take effect immediately upon its passage, September 17, 2024.
Second.
We'll give the second to Dave Granessi. Sorry, Dave. Okay, on the motion, Brian,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
Charlie,
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
And yes from the chair. Thank you very much. Okay, last item tonight, to create the Police Facility Capital Reserve Fund. Dave presenting.
Yeah, this was, thank you, this was part of the presentation by the chief regarding 3 actions. Should the council vote to accept the funds for the taking of properties on the Exit 4A project, we would recommend it be deposited into a Police Facilities Capital Reserve Fund, and this resolution simply establishes that fund. And I would, it's going to be future council actions, but I would recommend the council keep this capital reserve fund in place until such time as you arrive at a solution on the police department expansion project.
Okay. Seeing no questions, I will read this one since I put this originally in the GMO back in the day. So nice to see it coming up. Resolution 2024-060 to create a police facility capital reserve fund. Whereas Section 5.1 of the Town Charter designates the Town Council as the governing and legislative body of the town, and whereas the Town Council pursuant to RSA 35 is authorized to establish capital reserve funds in anticipation of major capital improvements or other extraordinary expenses, and whereas the Town Council has recognized that the Edward Garone Police Facility requires renovations and expansion to safely and efficiently meet the needs of the police department, and whereas the Town Council desires to establish a capital reserve fund in anticipation of addressing the deficiencies at the Garone Police Facility, now therefore be resolved in council that the Derry Town Council hereby establishes a police facility capital reserve fund and appoints the Town Council as agents to expend. Resolution shall take effect immediately upon passage.
Second.
Motion and a second. On the motion, Brian?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Charlie? Doug?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
And yes from me. Councilor comments, liaison reports, Jack?
This is sort of a liaison about the Derry Housing Authority. We've made housing as a priority and council goal. The Derry Housing Authority received some bad news a couple weeks ago. The federal government has cut the number of vouchers that the Housing Authority receives from 103 to 100, or 103 to 95. And it's crazy that a community the size of Derry only has 103 vouchers to begin with. And currently there are 195 people on the waiting list for these housing vouchers. And these housing vouchers are given in the following priority. The first on the list is people who are surviving and escaping documented domestic violence situations. The next is for veterans, and the last is Derry residents. And they are seeing an uptick, particularly in older Derry residents, as housing becomes more expensive. So it just puts a little more pressure on us on working on our housing goals. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Charlie?
Thank you. I just want to update on the cemetery project that we're embarking on. We had a meeting with the VFW members and Owen from the cable on Monday to discuss our activities moving forward. We decided on September 28th, so 2 weeks from now, from Saturday, we'll be having one last push for the season to get out and get some more of these markets cleaned up, and we're going to try to level some tomorrow. So tomorrow, a couple of us will be there from probably like 8:30, 9 o'clock tomorrow morning until whenever. But again, September 28th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., we'll be doing a last push. If you do wish to come, please go online, and Owen will explain it to you in a second, and register for that, just so we have an idea of what we can divvy up the workload for that. If you do decide to come, recommended items to bring would be a shovel, bucket, 5-gallon bucket, or 2 or 3 gallon bucket, whatever you have, just to get rid of some of the dirt. Gloves if so choose, drinking water, and a broom. And moving forward, this will be an ongoing project. This is going to be probably years in the making. We're working on some software ideas, trying to upload a lot of this information to get it into a website, to make it easily attainable to the public, to find out where people are located and the veterans, whatnot. And Owen is currently in the works of updating this page right here. And I'll hand it over to Owen, let him explain all this, how to get to this page and how to sign up and whatnot.
Absolutely. Thank you, Counselor. The location is at DerryCAM.org. We've spun up a microsite, what we refer to as a microsite. This will be the base moving forward as we create further updates. We've done a lot of pre-production today, so there will be an update as soon as tomorrow or perhaps the following day. But basically, if folks come to DerryCAM.org/Forest Hill Vets, spelled out, Forest Hill Vets, it'll take them to this page in our resources category. This will update them where the project has come thus far, and fill out this contact form right here, where you yourself, Councilor Foote, will be notified, and a list will be generated for reaching out for future endeavors in the project. And the September 28th date and all that information will be on here in short order within a day or two.
Thank you.
We have one last thing. We do have a video that we did on this occasion here that will be also here. So that'll give folks a taste of the flavor of what the event is all about. And also will be listed some detailed lists of items to bring, because it's important to let folks know they should bring their own tools and anything that'll make them comfortable throughout the day.
Right. So, and to update on that, so I mentioned at last meeting that we've done probably over 1,000 that we've kind of cleaned up and whatnot. Unfortunately, Mother Nature has taken its toll, and it's recovering a lot of that, the crabgrass or whatnot. So we need to go back and kind of neatly get those uncovered again. We've uncovered probably at least 100 or so that were completely submerged, between anywhere from 2 to 7 inches of whether it be grass, gravel, or dirt. So moving forward, we're going to try to level those. We're going to polish them, and we have some big things coming in the works to try to make this an ongoing thing. So again, if anyone's interested, please reach out, and we'll gladly see you on September 28th. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. Great project, and nice to see people come together to take care of that. So thank you very much for all your efforts. Anything else from anyone? Okay, we got some upcoming meetings. Everything's in the notes, and be prepared to come early here on, what date was that again, Dave? The early meeting?
October 15th.
October 15th, so not the first meeting in October, the second meeting? Yes, David?
Also, your first meeting in November is scheduled for Election Day. So I just need some feedback at some point whether you want to reschedule that or you want to move, you just want to go to the one meeting in November.
Any comments from the gentleman? We can always obviously ask Erin when she gets back.
Right. Just keep it, I'll
We're
put
a
it on the
little-
agenda for October 1st.
Maybe we should take that up at the next meeting when Erin's here. I don't want to jump forward, but I'm not sure we could maybe check and see if Monday night's available. Well, everybody probably be getting ready for election. We don't want to overburden Tina there the night before, who's probably going to be up till midnight again the night before. So everybody consider possibly one meeting in November or switching a date. Oh, there we go. We'll take that up when Erin gets back, so all 7 of us should chime in on that. If there's nothing else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Brian, second by Doug. All those in favor?
Me.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.